I want to show you growth, and I want to show you what happened to borrowing as well. We got new growth numbers from the Office of Budget Responsibility. This is the big picture, really. This is, how well is the economy doing, and whether these bars are kind of above the line or below the line, that shows the economy is growing. Anything above the line, that shows the economy is shrinking. And obviously, you'll see that's what happened during the pandemic, an enormous fall. These are the last figures, I should say. So the last time the OBR looked at these numbers earlier on this year, this is how these bars look. Well, let me update them with the latest numbers we've just had through today. And you can see there is a change, isn't there? Just look, this year, I was saying earlier, we need to have a look at this particular year, so 2021, and what happened to this bar? Did it go up? And yes, it has gone up from 4% to 6.5%, so a very big upgrade there. That is a big upgrade and one of the strongest years that we've seen for economic growth, basically in the last few decades. However, then you've got a bit of a cut in the 2022. Basically, the bounces has a different profile, doesn't it? When you're looking at what's happening to the economy, it's got a slightly different profile, slightly stronger this year, slightly weaker the next year. And then have a look through here. We go into the future. So we're moving through to 25, 26. And here's the other thing that's striking, OK? These numbers, 1.6%, that is not really punchy long-term economic growth. We're talking about, below what used to be considered trend growth of about 2.5%. So is that a bit of a disappointment? Perhaps. Economists will look at that and say, well, if you're hoping for a big productivity-busting budget, putting money into levelling up and hoping for, an improvement in our long-term growth potential, well, that's not all that encouraging at 1.6%. That's the official forecast from the OBR just now. And let's have a look to borrowing. So, obviously, if you've got stronger growth, that means potentially more tax revenues coming in and the economy doing a little bit better as a result. And certainly the public finances really needed something like that. This shows you borrowing last time around. So again, the forecast from the OBR last time around, very big borrowing during the pandemic. Obviously, this is the year that we're in at the moment. Let's see how those have changed. Can we add the new figures on? So these are the latest figures from the OBR, which have cut the borrowing forecast in this year, in the next year, in the year after that, in the year after that, all the way through over into the end of the forecast horizon, where you're talking about really quite low levels of borrowing, 46 billion, 44 billion. That's really small by the comparisons of recent years, by both the pandemic and the post-financial crisis years. And obviously comes back to that point that Rishi Sunak wanted to make, that it is about fiscal responsibility. You don't have massive giveaways towards the end of the forecast horizon, raising a question, and this is a political question which both of you will be more qualified to talk about than I will, but at this point, does the Chancellor then have more leeway, even within his self-imposed fiscal rules, to start doing tax cuts or indeed giveaways before a potential election in either of those 2 years? It looks like, but, this is a budget which could gear you up for some giveaways in the future, because it wasn't enormous when it came to those giveaways.